This story is made possible by Community First Credit Union. Thunder Country, KIIC.
South on Highway 63.
That was correct.
10-1.
The location now.
So we have Lieutenant Johnson here, and we're going to show a little video to the people. So I'm going to kind of lead this in for you. We're going to show a little video of Lieutenant Johnson having to deploy spike strips at a high-speed chase that came into Oskaloosa from the Atomo area. So tell me about this before we show the people the video of it. How much experience, or I think we heard you earlier. You'd used spike strips or had deployed them before, but these were new.
Yes, they're new to me. My old department, we had a different style of spike strips, which are a little harder to deploy and a little heavier. So these were a lot easier to use. They're a lot lighter, and just overall mechanics of it, it's a lot easier with these. You're not poking your finger like the other style I had. It was real easy to get cut or something like that if you're trying to deploy. Our law center received a phone call from the state patrol or over the radio about a high-speed chase that had speeds around 120 to 100 mile an hour coming from the Atomo area. And so they broadcast that to us and the county units. So I was kind of over here by the mall and heard it. So we kind of have places on 163 where we like to deploy spike strips. Those are places that have good cover for us, like guardrails is where I was at, or concrete bridge barriers and things like that is what we like to try and use. So that way we have some protection ourselves, because everybody's seen the videos on like YouTube or World's Wildest police chases where, the bad guy will just veer towards the police car, and then if that's all you have to hide behind, there really isn't much there, and a car going 80, 100 mile an hour can really move another vehicle that's just sitting still. So it's just nice for us, for a safety reason, to have that type of protection when we're doing those things. So I set up around exit 60. There's that big sign when you're heading north that tells you, this is the exit 60 right before the exit. Had a good guardrail there and parked the car in a way to where if it did get hit, it'd kind of go towards the other way. And then it's 2 Velcro straps in the back of the car, and we undo those and kind of run across the street. And our spike strips we have here, they're 3 like triangles all lined up, all in like a long sock is what it is. So what you do, you literally just throw it on the ground and unravel your string that looks kind of like a fishing line with a little reel on the end, and then you just kind of sit and wait. You just kind of focus, and when they're about a mile away, you really look towards the road that they're coming up, and they'll give you the description of the vehicle and kind of a speed and which lane it's in. And so it popped up over the hill, and it just kind of, they slowed down a little bit, and I was just able to get the string pulled hard enough to get I believe I had the driver's side front passenger tire, or the front passenger tire actually is the one I got. I did nick the driver's side tire, but it was on the edge of one of the triangles, so it didn't really poke anything in it. And then Officer Decline was about 2 miles up the road, and he deployed his as well and got the other one.
Yeah, baby!
So yeah, you were able to deploy those, and we're going to come back from the video, and of course, you and Chief have basically a high five moment, and then you're back in the squad car, and then you're into the chase.
Yes,
after that.
It's more of a support role. We had plenty of cars there, but it's one of those. It's nice to have a couple extra just in case he gets out and runs, or we had several other law enforcement vehicles that accidentally hit other spikes along the way as well. I know there's a trooper vehicle, and I think a county deputy truck that also got hit with a spike. So it's one of those, you'll lose a couple cars along the way. And another thing, some of the other counties, I think Van Buren County or Wapello County, they'll kind of turn off after you get kind of a little further away. So if it would have continued on into like Jasper County, I would have just turned around and went back home, because at that point I don't really know the roads or anything like that, and I wouldn't have been much help.
All right, so yeah, you had whole lot of excitement. You saw him get taken into custody, And you just go back home then, huh?
Yep. That's pretty much it. What we like to do, which happened there, was he just stopped on his own after a while. The second set of stop sticks in the Pella, Marion County area got his back tires as well. And eventually he's just running on rims and just sliding all over the place. So he ended it himself by just stopping. And then at that point, it's pretty much we just kind of make a line behind cover of vehicles and things like that. And then we usually let the main agency that's there or the one in that area or who's ever doing the chase and the lead, we'll give out just basic commands, get your hands out of the car, exit the vehicle, and kind of things like that, and just get on the ground. And so the extra officers are just kind of surrounding, making sure there's nothing else in the vehicle. The trunk doesn't magically pop open and someone's in there. Then once they took him into custody, then like another group would go up and check the vehicle, make sure no one else is in there. And then once that's done, it's just pretty much turn around and go home.
So the spike strips were effective. I mean, I think we all read some reports from various places that they kind of said that the spike strips weren't effective until maybe later on, but they were effective. The guy just needed to have a NASCAR license.
Exactly. No, he was he's a good driver. And it's one of those other types of spike strips are just really hard to deploy and things. If you're not ahead of it quite a ways, and they all malfunction. We had one where the string breaks and it just stops in the middle of the lanes, and 4 of us had to slam on our brakes just to not hit the spike strips. So it's one of those. They have their flaws and they're nice too, but it's just they break as well as anything else.
Any last thoughts about this, Lieutenant?
It's just a good kind of thing to do, like a refresher once you've done them before. It doesn't take us but a couple minutes to deploy them, and we train in that kind of thing, field training wise, and also being a supervisor, being in charge of people, we kind of make sure that our guys are in the correct spots. That way they don't get hurt or somebody else doesn't get hurt, and we try to explain to them how to use them properly, so that way we don't accidentally pop your tires, Ken.
Yeah, well,
probably won't be good.
So this kind of goes to show, everybody used to run for the county line because, the cops can't chase me over the county line, but there's a lot of interdepartment agency, that you guys just work together on this stuff.
Exactly, and it'd be no different if we had a chase going south or north or wherever. That radio, everybody's there to help. So it's just a nice feeling when you're kind of not where you're, not home in a way. When you're kind of in another county or don't really know where you're at, you've got help coming somewhere.
All right, thanks, Lieutenant, and thanks once again for your service. Because you really do kind of stick your neck out there when you're doing something like that. That could lead to tragedy, and thankfully in this case it didn't.
Yes, no, exactly. Thank you, Ken.
Would like to also acknowledge Oskaloosa Police Officer Justin Decline, as he also had a successful stop stick deployment. We'd also like to give a shout out to Mahaska County Sheriff's Office and Deputies Scott Miller and Joe Gumont. Those deputies played an integral role in helping bring the chase to an end.